Welcome to It's All Relative. I'm Josh.
And I'm Timothy. What's good?
And we're back at it with episode 5.
Yeah, we made it to 5.
Episode 5.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I'm always happy to be here doing these with you. They're always a good time.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah, we make this really fun, right?
It is.
And we're starting to get a lot more listeners. Shout outs to all of y'all that are listening.
Absolutely. We appreciate that for sure. The more love that's shown, it definitely helps us out. It helps out the podcast.
Right.
And we greatly appreciate that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So I got a question for you, brother. How are you feeling? I know we haven't had a podcast in a week, but how have you been doing? How have you been maintaining?
Yes, I've been good, taking care of things. We did go on a little week hiatus.
Okay.
Week
hiatus,
to take care of a few things, but we're back on track.
Yeah.
And we're good.
Same here.
Good? Everything's good with you?
Everything's good with me. I got everything that I needed to get straightened out. eBay straightened out. I got another little process coming up as far as selling things. Like I'm about to start selling on Etsy for things that my friends make. So we're working on that. And then finally, I'm actually started on YouTube. So I'm actually going to be talking about retro video games on YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and bring this podcast voice over to talking about different histories of different video games that we all played when we were younger.
Nice. Right. Well, when you get that up and running, we'll definitely have to plug that in.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So before we get started, I want to explain one thing real quick. We have had some fan questions involving our cover art.
Sounds good.
Some people have asked some questions about that. So, and I don't think we ever mentioned it. So I want to give a special shout out to the artist who drew up and created our cover art, and her name is Kelly Maughan.
Kelly Maughan?
Kelly Maughan. She is...
Shout outs to her. Shout outs, Kelly. Thanks.
She is
It's beautiful.
She's my stepson's girlfriend.
There you go.
And she's a fantastic artist.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's done a lot of good work.
Yeah.
So the picture of that cover art for all the fans, that check us out on Apple. That's what they'll see. Spotify. They'll see the logo.
That's there too.
YouTube,
and on Anchor as well.
Yes,
sir.
So once again, just thank you, Kelly. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And real quick, some news that's a little sad is that on December 10th, we lost Tommy Tiny Lister.
Oh, man. We lost Debo.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. That's right.
Died at the age of 62. Like you had mentioned, he was America's bully. Known as Debo.
Yeah, exactly.
And to another group of people.
Oh, wait, before you swag in, he was also in WWE as well, or WWF a long time ago.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, to another group of people, wrestling fans would probably know him better as Zeus, because that's
my bad. I should let you go with it.
You good with it, bro? Appreciate that.
Man, rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess his manager had said that he was complaining of having some symptoms of COVID, like prior days, to him passing, like trouble breathing and whatnot.
Right.
Which is sad.
COVID's taking everybody.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Got to be careful.
So, with that, definitely rest in peace, Debo.
Rest in peace, Debo.
For sure.
We'll always remember that uppercut on Friday. For sure.
For sure. So, on a more positive note, today's guest is someone who is going to give us some inside knowledge on two very distinct sports. Okay, one in particular that is growing in popularity by the day.
Okay.
The other being a little more on the extreme side. But you can find this man throwing discs hundreds of feet, bending velocity through twists and bends and trees. And if you can't find him doing that, you may want to look up, because there's a good chance he would be jumping out of a plane. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Molloy.
Welcome.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me.
My man.
Oh, man.
Thanks for coming,
Thanks
bro.
for being on the pod for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for it. Thank you.
No, we're definitely excited to hear about these two hobbies of yours. This is going to be new to a lot of people out there, because they haven't been put on yet to the sport of disc golf, and people either wouldn't or haven't had the opportunity to skydive as well, which is the other
And
hobby.
never will in some cases.
Yeah. So once again, we appreciate you taking the time to be a part of this. This is going to be great.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Before we get into those, though, I want to run something by since this is kind of our first episode involving athletics or sports and whatnot. I had a question for everyone real quick.
Yeah, let's go. What's up?
I wanted to discuss everyone's thoughts on the latest NBA news. I don't know if anyone's heard, but Adam Silver, who is the NBA commissioner, announced that they will not test the players for cannabis this upcoming season.
Well, that's a good step.
I think that's the greatest.
I agree. I think it's amazing. I think it's the right choice.
It's a historical step, honestly.
Yes, it really is.
It's going to help. And it's going to save a lot of stuff. If other sports like football, baseball, if they followed this path, it could save a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
And it also just looks good, like visually, to have a major organization get behind this idea of not making cannabis an impediment to playing or to doing something that they want to do.
Correct. Right. It's a medicine, and it's definitely beneficial.
There's too much nonsense, and people lose too many careers over it. Endorsements and stuff like that, just over.
Right. Just over cannabis.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. The NBA actually has been doing it. They through this whole year with the whole COVID thing, the whole bubble, like they were the ones to be able to finish their season, keep it contained. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have issues like we see with football and baseball, where every other day, people are testing positive.
Exactly.
It was also done well as hockey.
Yeah, hockey, really?
Because they're all up there in Canada.
Yeah,
they
that's
have
true.
a bubble up there in Canada.
Nice. Okay, I didn't know that. That's
actually very interesting. Yeah,
that is.
Yeah.
See, I mean, hey, the NHL is definitely something. I'm surprised actually that they weren't the first ones to
come
be
out with
pro cannabis.
Because if you're not in Canada, it's like people don't really care. But NHL is like some pretty fun stuff to watch, anyways.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they should give some more shine down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it only really matters if like the NBA or the NFL comes out with something like this.
Right, and the NBA, I feel like there's such a top leader of many things, even with the Black Lives Matter thing.
Exactly.
They were able to still carry and present their message, and they did it well.
Pretty glowingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're definitely in the right direction, I feel. So, but let's get into one of the reasons why Kyle is here. Let's start talking about some of this disc golf.
Right.
Disc
Fire away.
So disc golf is a flying disc sport in which players throw a disc at a target. It is played using rules similar to golf, and it is usually played on a course with 9 to 18 holes. Sound correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, 9 to 18. How long does it take?
Well, I mean, obviously it depends on your skill, and then also just like any other golf course, there is harder courses and there's easier courses. But
Jesus,
I mean, for most of the time it's free, so you go out there with a bunch of friends. It can take you all day.
Okay.
I mean, no one's rushing you or anything like that.
So like at the pace of golf, if need be.
Oh yeah, you could sit there, have a drink or two. Just sit there, relax, and just pick up whenever you're ready. Like I said, no one's going to be pushing you to go.
Right.
If anything, you just let them go on by. It gives you another second just to like, all right. Chill out a little bit longer.
Set the mood and stuff. Is there like any rules to waiting, say for example, for like the wind? Because I know the wind has to be a factor in this game.
Well, I mean, if you're playing like in a tournament, yes. Like then you have like 30 seconds to make a shot. Like same thing with if you're about to tee off, you only have 30 seconds. So, traditionally, yes, you want to wait until the wind cuts out, but if
sometimes you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the one annoying thing about golf and even miniature golf is always having to be rushed.
Right,
you got people
right.
behind you, you know, so it's pretty cool that, you can just take your time and whatnot. Let me ask you something, my man. When did you first get into disc golf?
Probably around 2015. I was introduced to it by one of my friends.
Okay. And what were your thoughts like when you first heard of it? Because, a lot of people are not very familiar with it.
I've always played like ultimate frisbee with my friends in the backyard, tossing a disc back there. And then he mentioned that he ended up picking up disc golf, and there was a course down in Beacon. So he told me to meet him down there one day, and I gave it a shot, and I was like, I fell in love with it right there.
Okay, I was going to ask. I was like, how long did it take you before you'd say that you had like a good comprehension of the sport?
I mean, definitely a few games in. Like probably like one or two to get like iron out the rules.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's just like, you're trying to get from point A to point B in the least amount of strokes as possible.
So you would say like you having fun at the very beginning is what made it really like, take hold for you.
With that and the fact that like, there's really no expense to it.
Right.
A disc costs about $15 to $20
bucks. You can just easily just go in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, it's just cheap, it's easy, and then it's just honestly learning the disc that's going to make you better. Because, like I said, it's for the most part free, and you're just enjoying free time with your friends.
That's so fucking cool. That's actually cool just to go outside, you know what I mean, and do something.
It's kind of like hiking with a purpose because it kind of goes up and down the side of Mount Beacon and stuff, and you're just out there with your buddies in the woods, and no one else is out there, so you're enjoying nature. And disc golf is meant to honestly, be a part of nature. Like we're not, cutting down all trees so there's a clear straight path. Like you got to play with nature and around the trees.
That's
like
so
that can affect your throw.
That is wild. Some of the I've seen some courses that have some holes where literally like straight in front of you where you need to throw this disc. There are trees like literally like lined up. And you gotta.
So this isn't like some Captain America shit where you throw it and it automatically like ricochets through trees and stuff, or is there like a way of throwing it to get it beyond trees and everything? As a question for both of you.
Well, I mean, you can throw it either way. I mean, there's a couple different styles of throwing it, but I mean, for the most part, if you're right-handed and you're just going to throw it right backhand, it's naturally going to want to fade left.
Ah, okay.
So you can actually bend these and manipulate these discs to how you want to fly.
Okay.
I mean, each disc has a different type of flight style.
Right.
But depending on how you throw it, you can kind of manipulate that for what you got to go do.
Okay, like you can change the trajectory and everything.
Exactly.
And the direct. Oh,
so like I can make a disc do like a nice S turn. So you got to get around some trees. Hopefully, you make the right decision and it does the turns at the right distances.
Right. Yeah, so if you got skill, you can bend them through the trees.
You can bend them straight through the trees.
And if you suck, they're gonna bounce off the trees.
Bounce off the trees.
Trees aren't your friend at that point.
No, it's not.
You just be chopping down trees.
But hold on, one more. Just the interesting thing about it is, how do you let's say you do have a tree. How do you know that there's not another tree or some other shrubbery behind it? Like, how do you...
Well, I mean, you try to line up your shot, obviously, with the disc, and you can only, see... If you can see the basket, you can try and figure out a line.
Okay.
Will you be able to throw 200 feet straight through maybe a 3 or 4 foot gap?
Wow.
Probably not. But if there's a bigger gap to your right where you can have it fade up to the right and come back and drop down the basket.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
But then again, there's branches you might not see up there. Little twigs and stuff will alter the flight path. And just when you think it's perfect, might hit a little branch and just drop 100 feet away. And then next you know, you got a 100-foot shot.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's wild. When I was introduced to this game, because I actually am somewhat familiar with disc golf.
Okay, you were a connoisseur of the disc golf.
I played twice.
Okay,
twice.
You still did something.
Yeah, it was crazy though, because when I was introduced to it, I was living down in Virginia at the time. I was going to school down there, and it was just like a normal day. I think during the summer. So me and a bunch of my roommates and friends, we were just trying to figure out, something to do during the day. So we were trying to, and this one dude, he was a local dude. He was like, yo, we should go play disc golf. And then I was like, what? What is disc golf?
You hear it and it's just what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, right. I thought it was some weird, I don't know, country made up game that these dudes made up and wanted to play.
Apparently it's an amazing sport.
But it's crazy. Yeah, when we went, it was actually a really good time. And just what I wanted to say though, getting back on some of the crazy the holes. There was one I remember in particular, it was in the woods, there were trees, and the hole was up top.
Right.
So you had to throw this thing through trees and uphill.
And uphill.
It's not
wow.
Because most golf courses and shit, everything's straight.
Yeah, it's straight, and it's slopes and maybe has a turn.
You're not
or something.
going at an angle
right.
Even try to walk up that hill sucked.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You gotta throw this thing up there to
have it come back around and everything.
Crazy. But what I wanted to ask you, bro, was Are there special types of discs or a certain brand that are better than others, or?
I mean, like the two biggest ones right now that come off the top of my head, there's like a Nova, which I started out with because the easiest way for me to get disc was at Dick's.
Okay.
And other than that, like I started picking up Discraft, which my favorite pro went to from a Nova to Discraft. And then there's also like Discmania and Latitude 64 and stuff like that. But the two big guys, a Nova and Discraft.
Discraft, okay.
Right on.
And you say you got a Dick's Sporting Goods?
Yeah, Dick's Sporting Goods does a Nova discs over there, yeah.
Discs, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. The size of these discs, are they like, okay, so like normal Frisbees are pretty big, right? And these discs for disc golf, they're smaller, correct?
Yeah, they're a little bit smaller, thinner. I mean, it also depends on which the disc is meant for. You know, just like clubs in the golf clubs, like there's putters.
There's putters and everything.
There's like, you know, irons for your mid game in between, and then there's drivers. So just putter, mid range driver, just like discs.
Okay. And as far as like the driver, like is its purpose similar to golf?
Yeah, just to get distance. I mean, there's fairway drivers and then there's distance drivers. So like, you know, so for instance, there's holes that you're out in a giant, you know, just kind of like golf where there's no trees out in front of you. It's kind of like a field.
A field, okay.
So, you know, accuracy isn't the biggest concern right there. It's more along getting distance because most of those holes are very long.
Okay.
So it's about more of eating up distance.
Oh, so are they like specifically designed for like power throws? Like you're just trying to launch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So like certain arm speeds, like certain discs, like weights and how fast you throw it determines how that disc will fly. Like I could throw a disc and it will completely fly different in your hands just because of how hard I can throw it and how hard you can throw it.
Right.
But you could find that same disc and you just make it in a lower weight and you can get it to a much easier path for you to throw it where it'll go straight instead of just cut hard left on you.
Right. Interesting.
What was your first experience playing like? You remember?
I mean, it was a while ago now that I think of how many times that I played, but I mean, like I said, it was nice and relaxing for the most part. You know, there was no pressure. It wasn't like, you know, hey, I just paid $40-$50.
Right.
And, you know, I'm getting rushed behind people behind me and,
you
know, I'm not enjoying it. Where, you know, I'm just going here with my friends. For the most part, it's free. You know, maybe grab a beer or two, the gas to get there, and you're just hanging out and pretty much having a good time. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's cool though that that it is very beneficial that it's a free thing to do.
Yeah, relatively free.
Money.
The cheapest hobby that I think I can find.
Right, you can just bring your friends and you're good.
That's what I mean. As long as you don't lose them. I mean, over time after hitting trees, depending on, because they do have different types of plastics. Some beat up more than others. But for the most part, they'll last you years as long as you're not hitting trees nonstop.
Right. Well, I mean, even that could be fun too if you're going to be angry. Just, you know, how hard can you hit it?
Oh, yeah. No, there's plenty of trees out there to hit.
Actually.
Do you have a favorite course to play at, or do you play at the same course, or have you played at different
I
ones?
jump around. I mean, the two main that I go back and forth is the Beacon Glades and Hackett Hill and Hyde Park. And me and my buddies have been trying to do more with Hackett Hill. There's been more like money getting pumped into that now. There's actual tee pads being made and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
The Beacon Glades, the course that I originally first played at, has gotten much better too. Like I said, the sport's growing, more money's going into it. It's tee pads instead of just, you know, dirt tee pads. There's actually pavers.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
So they really putting money in there.
Yeah.
So let me actually throw you another question. As far as the sport, could you ever see yourself going a little bit more pro?
I would like to be honest. I mean, it takes time and dedication and consistent practice. I mean, you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days, but I mean, there's a lot of competition out there, but I enjoy it enough to where, you know, I'll do that practice.
Yeah, I can see how happy you are talking about it.
Like I played a tournament the other week up at Wilcox, and I think it was at Red Hook, and I ended up doing 1,000 putts within that week before the tournament because my putting just did not feel good. Like even within 10 feet, I still worried about it. So I was like, you know, I'm going to get this out of my mind. I'm going to make it to where it's muscle memory. Just put it in the disc.
Yeah, so you're already at the level where you're just thinking, you're already thinking about how can I get better at this? It's not like just fun for you. It's like, how can I get really good at this and still make it fun?
Yeah, it's something that I enjoy. There's still like a competition to it, but there's no other competition I've had the similarity to because this sport, someone's always willing to help you. It's never like something where someone's much better than you and just, kind of talks down at you or something like that, doesn't want to play with you.
Right.
9 times out of 10, any disc golf place you go to, any course, and you're not doing well, someone will give you a pointer. People will even lend you discs to try this. Like, this
awesome.
will work better for you.
Yeah,
like, it's a
really
very,
cool.
very good community.
Yeah, it's very inviting.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone that I've met, I've learned plenty of things from other people. And so I do the same thing. I want to play with people that, want to play to their best potential and, have good matches. Get better over time because you're going to enjoy it more. Obviously, you do something, you get good at, doing something, it becomes more fun.
Okay. Well, we may have to ask because you seem so excited. I mean, this for most people is going to be their very first time. So if you have like some information that they can get like off of this podcast, if they're interested, we'll see if you can get it.
The easiest thing to do is at Dick's Sporting Goods. They have or you can go online. They'll have a beginner starter pack with the 3 pack. It's like $29.
$29. Okay,
that's all you need.
Not too bad.
Boom, and
easy entry.
You go and then you find a course online, and boom, you're right there. It's $20 to play.
It's definitely a growing sport and just something like you said, something free and fun to do. Yeah. And to be able to be outside. I mean, granted, right now it is winter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but like come spring and summertime, it's great to be outside.
Yeah, it'll
get
be
fresh
great.
air and to be able to go and do that. It sounds fun. And I feel like soon, like you had mentioned, that a lot more people are going to be picking up on this. And
I'm definitely seeing it on some of the courses for sure.
I was going to ask.
People,
I was going to ask,
especially with the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even since the beginning, there's been plenty of people I have never seen before that were just like, "Hey, I just found this, during this whole time, and I fell in love with it." That's
awesome.
great. That's something to do. You don't have to be near people. You can enjoy yourself and.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's real sweet. You mentioned tournaments. How many have you played in?
Now I've played in 3, and one was only like a real sanctioned tournament that counts towards like my PDGA score.
Okay.
Now, explain that? What is
the Professional Disc Golf Association?
Okay.
So kind of like, I get a number out of everyone that's registered in that
group.
Yeah, in that group. So then whenever you compete in sanctioned tournaments, it counts like point wise, and you get rated off that, and then
that's how you're ranked.
You're ranked off a number.
Let me throw a question at you then. As far as putting numbers actually up on a scoreboard now, how did that affect like your gameplay? Because now it's like actual professional, like your number is being placed down somewhere. Did that make you like a little nervous or anxious?
Honestly, yes. It did make me nervous in the fact that like it was an actual rules count for everything. Like you can't take that second shot. You can't misstep. You got to make sure you put down your little marker, just like in golf when you're about to throw or hit or something like that. So it was just making sure you play enough with your buddies. Sometimes that slips a little bit.
Right.
You're having fun. So.
Right.
You don't want to gain a stroke just because you decide to get lazy about it.
But as for your casual play, did playing that one professional time, did that make you want to step up your casual play a little bit? Like, let's be a little bit serious.
I actually kept it down. Like, I'm still in the amateur, so not even pro. I mean, you can sign up for pro.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I don't see the point in going there yet.
Right.
I want to stick with people that are more in my group and not go completely out of my league, because the holes, especially that they play, are much longer.
Okay. So it's like much more of an endurance type of thing, or is it?
It's just you got to be a more powerful player.
Okay.
Like you got to be able to get like some real distance. I think my best that I've ever gotten is about 400 feet. And
wow.
If you want to play like real professional level, you need to be able to get 400 feet just by standing there and flicking it.
Wow.
Damn.
Like you need to be able to get that thing out to like 500-600 feet easy.
Easy. Wow.
So with these tournaments and whatnot, like winnings? How much is it? Money? Like
well,
what do
with the
people...
division I'm in, because it's amateur, there's no like money winnings.
Okay.
But if like I did sign up professional, then there's actual money pot and stuff, and then they also have like what a bunch of courses will also have is an ace pot. So there'll be leagues where courses will have games every week where everyone can play and get ranked and stuff like that just at your own home course.
That's cool.
And so that there'll even be like an ace pot where so every time you're playing for money, there's like always $1 or $2 going towards the ace pot. So if someone ends up hitting this ace when they're playing, you can end up winning like a good couple $100, maybe $1,000 or something like that.
So is it like a pot above the other pot? Is that what you're saying? Like an ace pot? Like it's like a
no, just somewhere like to store the money.
Okay.
Like,
I feel you.
So I'm assuming that when people play, they take this a little serious.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, there's been times where I've took it a little too serious, and at the end of the day, you're just like you're not going to get any better if you get frustrated.
Right.
So when you play a normal game, how many people can play at a time? Or is there not?
I've gone out with quite a big group. I mean, like I said, it all really depends on how well everyone plays. Like, if everyone's at the same like level playing disc, then it'll be a good time. Yeah, you're at the same pace where, say if I play with someone that doesn't know how to throw well, I throw 300 feet, and then they're throwing shots like every 100 feet, and it's kind of like.
It's a little choppy. The pacing's off a little.
At that point.
Right.
But
do you find yourself being frustrated with playing people that are lesser than you? Like not lesser, but like they're just not as good as you.
Honestly, no. Like I enjoy like I said, giving pointers or something like that. I want to be able to play someone at their best of their abilities.
Right.
You might as well. If you're doing something, you want to get decent at it. You want to get good at it.
You want to get good at it. And you want to help the other people get good at it too. So,
Exactly. Like, I enjoy it so much. So it's like, I want to bring the happiness to the other person. Like as soon as they get to a point where they're good and they're enjoying it, then, you reach that enlightenment that it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's beautiful, actually. That means that this sport is definitely made for you because, I can tell that you're just lighting up talking about it.
Yeah, you don't need a tee time. Yeah. You can just show up.
Yeah, you just
call up a few friends, be like, hey, you want to go play some disc? All right, let's just go meet up here. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to, like, talk to anybody. Just go there with your friends and just be like, hey, let's have a day.
Let's have a day, yeah.
No dress code, like when you gotta go play golf.
Right.
You can bring a little smoke, you can drink, there's
that's good.
Everyone's
times.
Nice having a good time.
That's
Absolutely. Beautiful. That is beautiful. What is the best that you've ever done or shot? I'm sure, I'm willing to bet good money that you've gotten a few aces.
I've gotten 4 aces. I actually just missed possibly grabbing my 5th ace last week. It ended up bouncing out of the basket.
Damn.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah, so kind of just like regular ball golf. Imagine, hits the bottom of the cup and bounces
out.
Like
Forget it.
This hit the chains and it just bounced off. Luckily, it only ended up bouncing like 5 feet away and not like much further, making it a much harder shot to put it right back in. But luckily,
how do you drive or how do you? I guess it's putting at that point. How do you putt a shot like when it's that close?
At 5 feet,
yeah.
Just simple, gently
toss
right in.
It? Wow,
and that's the thing though, like. You can even miss from that range. I've missed plenty of times from that range. You just don't think about it. You think, it's right here.
Oh, it's right here. It's going in.
Those frisbees curve and turn different ways too, bro.
Yeah.
Is there like any penalty if it's like rolling like as it's like trying to enter the hole? Is there any penalty for like rolling?
Well, actually, no. Let me pull up what a basket looks like.
Yeah, sure.
It's on a pole.
I have like a bad idea of how.
Yeah, there's like a post in the ground and whatnot, and then there's like a bucket that's up here, so it doesn't sit on the ground. It's up on top, and then there's a chain, almost like a chain,
like a chain. Okay,
hoop.
like a hoop. Yeah.
And when you throw it, you got to get it in the chain, or it's got to hit the chain.
It's got to go in, like it's got to rest in the basket.
Okay.
Like it could get stuck in this outside cage, or it could even land on top of the basket.
It'll still count.
No, it could be. Count. It could even be on top of the basket, like at the top of the chains, at the top of the pole, and it won't count. It's got to be resting like in the basket or in the chains.
Oh, very interesting. Oh, wow. Okay. So it has to be inside.
Yeah, it's got to be in those chains or resting in the basket.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad if it's got to be in the basket too. It's like 2 different chances.
But you know what? Some of the cool things is that some places will have that different setup. Like they'll have elevated baskets. Like there's a place down in FDR where they have 2 baskets set on top of each other.
Okay.
Because they like some courses they have like a long hole and a short hole.
Okay.
And they'll have either 2 baskets.
And is it the length of the basket itself?
No, it's length of like how long like the distance of the hole is.
Ah, okay, I see. I get
so like some courses will have 2 tee pads for 1 hole. So like, you know, depending on the distance you want to play, like the harder distance is going to be the furthest tee pad away from the basket.
Okay.
Or you could have 1 tee pad and they'll have 2 baskets in different placements. Like, you know, obviously the harder one being like in a more difficult position, most likely farther away.
Do you get more points for doing the harder one?
Nope.
No, so that's out of just for pure challenge?
Yeah, it's all about skill.
Okay.
Yep, just to get it there.
Man, that's not bad though.
Always practicing, always do better.
Yep, got to learn your discs.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about certain courses and whatnot and layouts. What is there a particular course that is just killer for you? Super difficult, one that you just do not like having a.
I mean, that I don't like is Gardner.
Okay.
I mean, it's a
shout
good
outs
course,
to Gardner,
but it's a tight, very tight wooded course. Like there's very, very tight lines. Like I'm talking about like maybe 3 to 5 feet wide for 300 feet.
That's
like
tough. Yeah.
That's rough.
So sometimes it's a little bit of a luck shot. Like, you know, there's sometimes a lot of luck in disc. You know, it'll take a ricochet off something and end up kicking you right in the way you want to go instead of like kicking you. Also, it could kick you right out. Like,
so what happens if it's like far away on a course like that? Is it just like really treacherous to get it back over there?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, super impressive though to even say that you've gotten more than 1 ace, you know, in your.
Yeah, no, I've definitely gotten lucky for the most part. I never believed any of them. Remember my second one, the guy I was just meeting on the course down in Jersey when I was down at my family's house. And, you know, it ended up apparently going in. He was like, holy shit, it went in. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, that's probably another basket. Walk up there and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And they actually went in.
Yeah.
That's dope. Now, how long, like, okay, so every hole, what's the average or normal par?
I mean,
4s or
3s. I mean, depending on like the difficulty, like I would say pros, it'd probably be like, probably 4 to 5.
4 to 5, okay.
But also their 3s are much harder and much longer. So like it also depends on the courses that they're playing.
So they make the 3s intentionally long on purpose.
That or more difficult. They'll have like mandos or something like that, which is like a mandatory tree or a mandatory point
that it has to go around.
That you have to go around.
Wow. Okay, that's actually really interesting.
So if you miss that, you know,
crazy.
That's a bad shot. You're gonna have to redo that.
Right.
You have to go back around, or you go to a drop zone, a designated area
to actually
where you're already taking the stroke, and then you're taking your third stroke or whatever stroke from that point. And then hopefully, but you're going to still be a decent distance away. You know, most you don't want to do that.
That just seems like a course that would like break people, like a course like that.
No, there's some really tough ones out there with water hazard that where you're thrown over lakes and stuff like that. And that's the thing. Cool. When you lose a disc,
that's frustrating.
Like it's hard. Like I've lost a bunch of discs before, and like you know I've had discs that like I can tell you I use this disc for 5 different courses and which exact holes that I use this disc for.
Right.
The second that disc leaves, it's like, damn. Because I've also played with that disc for a few years, so I beat it and got it to where I wanted it because it doesn't fly like it was new.
Right.
So, you wear it in.
So a worn disc is actually better than a newer disc?
For the most part, like for you throwing it, because you're learning over time how it throws. Mm-hmm. So beating it in, like, you know, you're just getting more comfortable with how to throw it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like you could be comfortable with how a new disc flies, but then again, like once it starts to get beat in, you're going to have to adjust to how that disc flies.
I see.
Because the more you hit trees and beat it up, it's going to slightly alter how it flies. It's going to actually make it go straighter.
Interesting. Have you ever been in a situation where there's a disc that you didn't like and like it ricocheted off of something and then it like had a little bit of a better trajectory or it just felt better to you?
Well, when I bounced it off a tree or something like that?
Or like let's say you had a disc that you just weren't really like in tune with yet.
Mm-hmm.
but maybe you tossed it and it hit something. Did you ever like find yourself liking it a bit more?
There were points where like I was trying to force myself to use that disc. I would maybe throw it a certain way where I could make it work for me.
Right.
And then, I would get comfortable being able to throw it that way and end up using it more and more. And then I would be able to make it less of an exaggerated throw to where I get the shot that I want.
All right. That's pretty cool.
So they could be very like tight discs that turn left real hard when you throw them, and the more and more and more you play with them, the more they'll straighten out.
Okay.
So then you don't have to put that crazy power into it.
Right,
It does kind of what you want.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna take a quick break, but before we do, I guess we just should let all the listeners and all our fans know that if you guys are looking for something to do, get on this disc golf
thing. I'm gonna have to start looking at it myself.
My buddy actually created a page on Facebook, Hackett Hill Disc Golf.
Shout out.
If you want to swing on by, you can kind of see what it looks like.
Okay. Look it up, find that Facebook page, join that, get into it. It's you'll have a good time. It's a good time. So we want to remind our listeners that they can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Anchor. Please continue to show the love and support the pod. Subscribe, comment, 5-star rating.
Please bless it.
Always important.
Always.
Please. We really appreciate that. So I guess we'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
So I have a question for our listeners out there. Do you own a computer? Are you having trouble with broken screens, data backup issues, password reset problems, virus spyware removal, software installation issues? If so, Slipstream Repair Computer Electronic Solutions has you covered. Contact Timothy Latunde at 845-204-1712. The email is ss.sho16@gmail.com. Once again, that is 845-204-1712. And the email is ss.sho16@gmail.com. Call or email to schedule a free consultation. Back on It's All Relative. Still joining us in studio is Kyle Molloy, a disc golf competitor / enthusiast.
Oh yeah.
Now besides disc golf, you have another hobby. Some would say or categorize it as an extreme sport.
How extreme?
Top extreme, pretty extreme. I myself have it in the category of being batshit crazy.
Okay, so death defying.
But that is skydiving. So skydiving.
As a sport.
Yeah. When did you get into that, bro?
I mean, I got into it. My first ever jump was for my 18th birthday.
Okay.
And then I didn't try to get my license until about 2012.
Okay. What made you decide you wanted to jump out of a plane?
I mean, I grew up around it technically.
Okay.
Like my dad started skydiving since I was about 6 years old.
Oh, so you've been watching the old man jump out of the plane.
Yeah. So, spent those afternoons or those days out there just sitting there watching all the colorful parachutes come landing in and stuff like that.
So it's like a beautiful thing for you to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like as they're falling and everything.
Yeah.
You never got scared of your dad? Like,
I mean, I just, he did it without a problem. I didn't think anything of it.
That's interesting.
I mean, I talk to people now because they have kids, they'll never think about it. I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah.
My dad did it.
Yeah, my dad did it. He was jumping out the plane. Yeah, but I guess you just never had like a fear of your dad dying at all. Or like a mistake or anything. Because it has to be something that people think of.
Not really, honestly. I never thought that.
Okay, wow.
Just,
Probably as a kid too, you don't focus too much on it. Yeah. And since he was able to do it successfully so many times,
I think I just had confidence. He knew what he was doing.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
How many times have you skydived?
Say around 100 times.
100 times.
I haven't even done the first.
I will never do the first. Skydive.
Which, that's little numbers. Very, very little numbers.
Little number compared to what?
I mean, at least with my old man, as long as he's jumped, he still has over 1,000 jumps.
1,000 jumps.
But there's, someone who I started with in, 2012 that had, I think, in the beginning of this year, 4,000 jumps.
4?
And there's people up there, the professionals out there that have 20,000.
Like they're just basically jumping every single day.
Yeah, no, they're paid to jump, like Red Bull skydivers and performers and stuff like that.
Wow,
so it's their job.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to just get off the thing once. No, I don't know about that.
Yeah. You have a favorite place to go skydiving?
The Blue Ranch.
Blue Ranch.
Over in Gardner.
Shout out Blue Ranch.
Shout out Gardner.
Is there a specific time or like you got a favorite time of when you?
Honestly, probably like the beginning of summer. When you're not sitting in a real hot box of a plane.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're sitting in there for like 20 minutes getting to altitude, and if it's a very hot day, you're sweating.
Yeah, like hot and muggy and everything.
You will even ride up all the way to altitude with the back door open just to let air to filter through and stuff like that.
Right.
And, you're just hoping to get out, just like rush out of the plane.
Does that like the fact that there's like heat or temperature differences, does it make you like more anxious to jump?
When it's hotter, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where it'll be so hot that it ain't gonna make a difference.
Right.
But like in the beginning stages, like when it's first starting to get warmer, then you can notice the temperature change.
Right.
I remember it was like 70 degrees on the ground, and then when we got to altitude, it was absolutely freezing, and I was in t-shirt and shorts, and I was like, oh, shit. That's when I jumped out, and I was like, I need to get down as fast as possible.
Right, so you let this end, actually.
That's crazy.
That is.
Before you jump, like, what emotions do you go through? You get nervous? You excited? You're just so used to doing it, you just...
after the first few jumps, like, when you're first getting back into it after the season of stopping for a little bit, the first jump, you always get butterflies and stuff like that.
Okay, so the butterflies come back.
But after a few jumps, you just gets back to normal. It just becomes like an everyday type thing. Like, you'll get like 4 or 5 jumps in a day,
and it's just nothing.
That's wild.
That's wild to just imagine just jumping off the plane without thinking of it.
Yeah, it's just like your whole ride up, you're just thinking about what you're going to do in the air. Most people, you're going through a routine in your head where maybe you and your friends are trying to do.
Am I going to die? That's what we're thinking. Yeah, but you basically are thinking about making adjustments in the air or doing some tricks in the air?
Yeah, like formations or something like that.
Formations,
or you do
that makes
some
sense.
Free fly where, you're just like hanging together, not doing anything too specific. You're just like doing sort of angle flying and stuff like that.
All right, then that throws another question. When did it get to the point for you where you weren't thinking about making a bad landing or not opening your parachute to, I need to make an adjustment here, like while you're falling?
Well, you're saying like an adjustment, like...
Well, more so like of the thought process. Like, let's say like apparently if you either you start or you're very new to it, you're more like nervous that you're going to make a bad drop or something like that. Yeah. Or even like of the parachute not open.
Honestly, it was probably after 25 jumps to the point where I got my license, because at some point through getting my license, I had to pack my own parachute.
Okay.
And there's 2 ways of him checking to make sure I did it right.
Uh-huh.
And it was either him unpacking it right there and to see if I did it right, or I just went and jumped it.
Oh,
and he was like, and I don't feel like, he's like, I don't feel like unpacking this. And I'm like, God damn it.
Wow.
So, that was the whole thing where I was like, well, hopefully I did it right, because here we go.
Yeah.
So the fear of death never creeps in you, or is it just like,
I was just like, I was like, I got a second parachute. As long as, stay calm and collective, you know what to do. Should be fine.
All right.
I was going to ask that too for the people that don't know. Like, usually when you skydive, You have 2 parachutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not like base jumping. Where base jumping, you're jumping off like a building or something.
Uh-huh.
You don't have the time for a reserve parachute. It's just so
Wow.
quick.
I'll say no to that as well.
Yeah, the statistics are slightly different in that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah.
Have you ever been like on the plane, like on the way up to jump out, and like you're with anybody that's thrown up or gotten so scared? Because that'd be me.
Yeah.
I've definitely
yeah.
seen people that were afraid. I
Yeah.
think I was on a ride where someone just decided not to go, and that
Right.
ended up being like a nice $300 plane ride for 20 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
I ain't paying.
Yeah, so I guess
paying money for that.
Don't freeze up.
Yeah,
If
don't
you're gonna
freeze.
do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do
like
it.
in Black Panther, I
Yeah.
never freeze.
Yeah.
No,
Just
you'll
takes off.
enjoy it. It's so much fun. It's relaxing. Second you
real.
leave the door, you're not even thinking about it. You're just enjoying the view.
That's amazing. I mean, I can never get. I can just be honest. I will never get myself to that point. I may
Give it
do it
time.
once in my life, but I don't know, man. Like just being able to just jump.
Yeah,
know,
that's
worth it.
wild,
Yeah.
bro. I would freeze
Closest
up.
thing to flying.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I mean, now they got these wingsuits now that you can, instead of descending the whole time, you can actually ascend.
So you can
Really?
actually like rock.
Yeah, as long as you like go down at a steep enough angle, you can like pull up
Uh-huh.
and you'll go up for like I think.
Are you, like,
I'm not sure
catching-
exactly how high, but they were actually gaining altitude instead of
Interesting.
consistently falling.
Huh.
Are you catching like a draft as you're coming up, or what?
Well, with the wingsuits, they just have much more fabric and it's more aerodynamic. It's more like a plane.
I see.
Your
I
body's
see.
shaped like. So it's not so
Right.
much thermals or
Mhm.
something like that. It's just them keeping speed under their wings and stuff like that.
Right, and then allowing them to
I mean,
slightly rise up.
Wingsuits have gotten much better over the years.
Wow.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff that they do.
It's
They're
interesting.
insane. They're absolutely insane.
So how do you know, or like how do you learn like what to do with the procedure, like when you jump out, the right time to pull your parachute?
Well, I mean, when you go to get your license and stuff like
They
that,
teach you
because they're
that.
not going to let you jump with your own parachute without getting a license.
All right, okay.
So pretty much you learn all that stuff, and going through getting your license is learning fixing malfunctions.
Right.
Oh, okay. So it's more of like a technical thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much knowing what to do if this goes wrong, this goes wrong. It's all about,
Right.
saving yourself.
Right.
You
So
know.
basically like a car license.
Yeah,
or
if
something.
there's ever a problem, this is the case.
That's a good
and
way to
just
look at it.
showing that you can do it under control.
Okay. Okay.
Because if you panic and freeze up, probably not the best sport for you.
Right. Right. It's probably
Yeah.
only one sport, and one chance you
Yeah.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So when you do this, are you supplied with like all the equipment, or you have to buy your own stuff? And
No, if you're going through, like, the ranch has a program, so like you're provided with helmet, altimeter, parachute, all that stuff. And
Nice.
then, for the first
Okay.
few levels there, I think you do tandem where you're attached to an instructor. And then your first 7 jumps.
Like you're
are-
back to back, right?
Yep, you're
Okay.
connected. And
Okay.
then your first, I think, 7 jumps, you get your own parachute, and you have 2 instructors on each side of you when you're falling, holding on to you. So you're always stable.
Okay. I guess when do you learn to be stable yourself?
They'll slowly, over the course of that, let go. Like, you
Okay.
already know what your body, like how you should be arching and stuff, where your
Right.
body should be.
Right.
And they'll slowly kind of let go and see if, if they let go, are you going to stay in one spot, or are you going to start to turn to one side or turn to, the
Okay.
other?
Is there like one specific way of turning your body that everyone must follow, or does it follow with each person?
Well, I mean, both things, like, moving your feet or turning your shoulders.
Mhm.
Like, they just tell you to do a little bit of both, or,
Okay.
it depends on where you go.
Okay.
I feel like that's a lot to remember
That's a
when you're
little too
falling
much.
too
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, right.
bro. Like,
But you do
That's-
procedures as you go down. Like, they want you to touch your ripcord where you pull your parachute
Mhm.
like 3 times to show where it is.
Okay.
They want you to maybe do a 360 right, come back, be straight, 360
360
left,
left.
show that you have control.
Okay.
Because
nice.
if you don't have control, you can spin around to the point where you black out, and then
Right, and that's the end.
unless you have a Cypress, which is a little computer, hopefully that fires before you actually impact. Like,
so it's
I
a
have one
computer
in
that-
my bag.
Okay, does it fire to like set off a warning or something?
It actually pulls your reserve,
Oh,
Oh my
So-
god,
bless.
this is
so it
scary.
can save.
shout
you.
outs to Cypress.
as long as you turn it on, though,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it doesn't
wow.
work
Yeah,
unless
turn
you
it
don't
on.
turn it on.
Oh my
Because
god.
you're up there, you're moving at high speeds,
Right.
you can easily get knocked out. That's why people wear helmets.
Right,
But you
right.
can't always, prevent a meat rocket, some guy flying in and hitting you.
Jesus.
You know? And then hopefully...
Not even thinking of other people in the air hitting me.
I guess I never even thought about that,
exactly.
Of crashing into somebody else.
Meanwhile,
Like,
while you're following.
You can see the other people in the air and stuff like that.
That's wild.
There is jump orders depending on how, like, what you are doing with people.
Okay.
In relation to them falling.
Okay.
So, because you don't want people jumping out and then the next people in front of them or behind them are going to drift over them.
Right. So I guess maybe you don't know the history of it. Does that have something similar to paratrooping? As far as like jump orders, like, okay, you jump now. Okay, you jump next.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, they're all the same thing.
They're all the same.
Like, in paratrooping, they're just, basic ground parachute. Like, they're not realistically, I mean, it's a form of skydiving, static line, but, they don't have any real free fall point.
Ah, okay.
The second they leave the plane, that parachute's coming out.
Okay, makes sense.
So maybe I could do that.
Yeah, knowing that it opens up early.
Actually, I don't even know. That's too high. That's wild.
Right. It's really interesting. I was just thinking about it. Like, I had a friend that he passed, but he was a paratrooper in life. So I was just wondering if there was similarities there.
The one thing difference between paratrooping and what I use is they didn't have nearly the amount of control of the parachute that we have. Like special forces have parachutes like we have to control to get into like tight areas
because they need to like really land on a certain specific spot.
But you don't want to give like hundreds of soldiers that just jumped out of a plane, the ability to go whichever way they want.
Right.
Because, when we're jumping over there, we all tell each other, like, we're going to land this way because this way is which way the wind's blowing because you want to land into the wind.
Exactly.
And then sometimes when you get down there, the wind could shift. Jesus. And you don't necessarily want to land downwind because that's real dangerous.
Right.
So it comes into play like, you want to land safely, but you decide everyone else was like, we're supposed to go the other way.
Right.
So, I mean, with the round parachute, you really don't have to worry too much. You're just pretty much at the, mercy of the wind.
If you're...
And you land hard.
Yeah, exactly.
You land hard.
Right. I was going to say if there's special forces, they also have to deal with like people trying to shoot them out of the sky.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember when I was going through my... getting my license in the beginning in Delaware, I was actually going through a class with the guy who was getting his like... his own license just for like to have fun, and he was an old ranger or something like that.
All right.
And apparently he did a few jumps into like a combat scenario where he was getting shot at and stuff like that. And I'm like,
that's wild.
That is wild.
I was like, that's real wild. And it's like he wants to do this, for fun after staying skydiving.
Being shot at, and then he's like, all right, I'll just keep doing it. Yeah, I mean, that's a life. Yeah.
So how does one go about skydiving? Like if they wanted to?
I mean, it's as simple as like, nowadays you can go on YouTube and find anything,
So you can go on YouTube and
you
learn
can
how
probably
to drop.
watch every single jump through the scenario. Most cases, you got to take 25 specific jumps to get through your whole license.
Interesting.
You have to pay. Like, is this an expensive process?
Yeah, I paid around $2,500 just to get my license before any gear said and done,
Money well spent, I'm sure.
Expensive hobby.
It is very expensive hobby. I mean, once you get all your stuff together, I mean, it's $26 a jump, and then if you're lazy like me, I'll pay someone to pack my parachute.
You pay somebody to pack your parachute. You were just talking about
but my body's so broken up that I would just rather
that's understandable. Yeah, I mean, is it really compacted? Is it a lot of pressure?
Well, my canopy is 170 square feet that you got to fit into a little bag that's like the size of a foot.
That's
okay.
So crazy.
Let them pack it for you.
Yeah, no, and they can do it with ease and just like a snap of a finger. Where I'll be struggling with it for 20 minutes, sweating my ass off.
Is there no machine that can like pack a parachute?
No.
Oh, okay. No. So you have to do it by hand.
Well, you putting all your trust and faith in these people,
right?
Well, I mean, these guys have been doing it their whole lives.
Right.
Okay, so that's a little more comforting.
Yeah. No, I could trust those guys over there. Nice. I've known them for long enough.
That's wonderful.
Have you ever had, like, personally a bad experience while skydiving?
Yeah, I've had some hard openings where instead of my parachute opening up just nice and easy, I went from like 120 to 0 in like a second. It's like being like in a car crash, You see lights, like stunned, like my neck was really hurting and stuff like that. My back was killing me.
What's the percentage of that happening after every jump? 1 in 10? Less?
To be honest, I'm not totally sure of that. I mean, it all comes down. That comes down to how the parachute's also packed.
Back to packing.
Yep. So that
if
the parachute doesn't deploy properly, like because you can also pack it to how soft an opening you would like it to be. But also, once again, the softer your opening, the more altitude you're eating up for it to open up.
Okay.
So, like, I think mine would typically be at least 700 feet for it to fully inflate.
Right. So essentially, no matter what, it's packed to taste. Like you like, I mean, you like it releasing at a certain time.
Get it in as close as you could, like, Okay. But some things can go wrong like that.
Right.
Where the slider is already packed down because there's this little slider that's around the rings that's packed up into the parachute. Oh. So when it opens, it just slowly travels down the lines to let the parachute open up slowly. Because if it wasn't there and it just opened up like that, like real quick, you could tear it, bust it, kill the person, get injured, like.
Just pack it how I live.
My buddy's lines, a couple of his popped off when he had hard opening and stuff like that. I was on the ground. It sounded like a shotgun went off.
Jesus, he didn't break anything, did it?
He didn't get hurt.
Wow. Okay.
That would scare me. Have you ever witnessed, like, seeing someone else, like, in a bad situation?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, there was one time I was going to go skydive with some friends during like a boogie over there, and someone ended up taking a bad landing and
not death, right?
Not death, thankfully, not death. And I was just like, I was about to get ready to get on a load, like, put myself on a list, and I was like, you know what, I'm good today.
Okay,
I'm good.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, if you saw somebody do a bad landing, does that even just change?
No, it's like this bad landing, like, really hit, like, had to be medevac
broken
out like
legs?
that. Yeah,
wow, broken.
No, broken a lot of things.
Oh God.
Well, he's still alive, thank God.
No, luckily he's still good.
Still good. Horrible.
So you've never though witnessed anyone like crashing into a tree or?
Well, yes, I have watched someone crash into a tree.
Ooh, how did the trees? How's those crashes?
That one was, I mean, I wasn't up close to it. I didn't see like the final ending, but I saw her go into the tree. Ooh. I mean, it's a lot different when you see it from a distance compared to being the person like going into the tree. You're not going slow by any means.
No.
You're going at least 30 something. Like, depending on the size of the parachute,
you're coasting into that tree real hard. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Oof.
no.
Yeah, so I guess the goal, like when you coming down and you about to hit the ground, you want to be able to do that little skip run kind of thing and just
you pull down your toggles, you flare it out, change the shape of the parachute to where instead of going like cuts off the air to where you can just land, instead of you going down, it flattens it out.
Right.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So you can control how you land.
Right. Is there a way? Because I've always seen
you also you always go off of weight too.
Oh, okay.
Like how much weight. Your weight to the size of your parachute, you normally want at least 1-to-1.
1-to-1, okay. Well, I guess I was going to ask, like, as you are coming down, is there a specific technique that you have to follow every time, or is it something that you can also adjust as you move ahead as a diver?
I mean, there's always things you can critique, but I mean, like when you're talking about coming into land, there's always things that can be safe, but like normally when you're going landing somewhere, there's always a landing pattern. Okay. So the main thing is to keep other people safe. Always look where other people are because you're floating up around there. There could be people any which way, and sometimes it's hard to tell which way they're going. Or are they going to turn for when you need to turn? Like
right. So it's like having like general awareness of your surroundings and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, because some people can make bad decisions. You just want to make sure you're prepared for it.
Okay.
Like, you made it that far. Just get on the ground.
Exactly. Let me just land.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess one more question. Like, as far as landing, whatever happens, like let's say you make a mistake in the sky, you corrected the mistake, but it's thrown you off as far as landing, and you find yourself like maybe falling into some trees, maybe falling like next to a building or some sort of obstacle. How do they teach you how to try and mitigate it?
Well, I mean, you just want to be accurate with your parachute.
Okay.
Because there's plenty of times like that's the one thing they teach you also while getting your license is before you jump, you want to be able to see the drop zone. You want to be able to see where you're landing.
All right.
Because if you jump out and you don't see your landing, you could miles fucking away.
Right.
Like there's times where they've ended up miles away. I was on the same exact load where 3/4 of my load landed 3 or 4 miles away. I think probably at least 3 miles.
They all start together.
Yeah, and that's why I was looking back up. I was like, where is everybody? And then here to find out they landed at like Hannaford's a couple miles down the road.
You got to walk back with that parachute.
Yeah, so that's why I always like, look out the door. I want to make sure I'm over. I don't want to have to work at trying to get back because I've been in those situations. Okay. Luckily, haven't landed off, knock wood, but
yeah, I was thinking like you said at Hannaford's. I was like hoping like maybe you don't like fall into traffic or something like that.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. It's hard to see power lines and stuff like that from the angle you're up there. Wow. So you obviously got to think like you're crossing the road and stuff. You don't want to be crossing. That's the thing. You land off, you don't know where you're landing. That's the biggest risk right there. You could land into an electric fence, farms and stuff like that. So
let me throw one more question because it's so interesting. Like as far as like since it is a plane, I guess it has to be covered like by the FAA. Is that the FAA?
Mm-hmm.
How do they cover for people that are jumping? Since you are like a flying object, I would assume.
I mean, pretty much to go up there and like constantly on the radio.
Okay, they'll also to the FAA themselves.
Yeah, just like let them know, like, hey, there's a plane going up to skydivers at this location.
Okay,
like
yeah, like how do they make adjustments?
Here, but still, you'll see once in a while
that they may be miles away.
I've been in the air before, seeing a plane like fly off in the distance,
right?
Like, and you're just like,
holy
shit,
shit, yeah. Wow, okay. Well, like, have you ever seen drones?
I don't want to have to worry about getting hit by planes,
Right, right.
I'm already worried about getting hit by people.
Yeah, exactly, or running into a tree or something.
Yeah. Is there anything crazy that you've seen, like after you've pulled your parachute and you're floating in the sky?
Honestly, one of my favorite jumps is there was one year where the whole like cliffs of the Schwanguns Mohunk Mountains over there were on fire.
Wow.
And remember, I just did a jump by myself where I just jumped out and I just fell watching that.
That's wild.
And, if I had free fall.
Fell watching like a mountain on fire.
Yeah, I fell for like about 50 seconds and it was just, it was bliss. It was just sitting there just watching the fire. I was like, I have the best view. Like, it's awesome.
Right.
I'm here by myself. I'm floating. I'm flying. Like,
right.
Is it quiet?
You can't.
Quiet up there? No.
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
So it's loud
stick your
up
head
in the
out
sky?
the door at least going 80 and it's like you're going at least 120.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
So you stick your head out the door at least 60, 80 miles an hour, it's loud.
Wow. Like, as you fall, is it like how does it feel mentally like for you?
I mean, you have control.
Okay.
Like it's not like a complete floatless weightlessness like you'd be in space.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do have direction like with your body. So you want to be able to manipulate your body in a way to where you're directing the wind and how you want to move.
Okay, so you have like the mental capacity there to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
So you see on movies sometimes like when people are falling from the sky, like they do that swimming shit in the air. Does that really work? Like they can you can.
Well, I mean,
can you
not
stroke
really.
in the
I mean,
sky?
as long as you're like, you angle your body just right, you get to move the way you want. Like, you can do some pretty amazing things.
That's pretty fascinating.
So, yeah, you can try to get in all your flips, all your crazy maneuvers in your, 50, 55 second.
Oh, yeah. No, sometimes it seems a lot longer. Sometimes it seems a lot shorter. But at the end of the day, like, I always like to have I pull at 4,500 feet.
Okay.
I want to make sure I have enough time. You know, do I have a mistake? You want to have time to correct it.
Right. Has there ever, what's the shortest then? Like the shortest jump from jumping to landing?
As in like free fall time?
As free fall, right.
Like in the time that I pulled my parachute?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the lowest that I got to?
Yeah.
I think the lowest maybe was $3,000. I mean, I don't think I think I pulled a little before that. My parachute was open below $3,000, but not by much.
But you decided, was it something that you were trying to adjust for, or did you just say, fuck it, I'm just pulling it a little bit lower to this time?
No, honestly, just kind of lost track.
Oh, okay. Wow, lost track.
Yeah, that's the thing. You always want to keep checking, your altimeter and where you are in relation.
You're a little comfortable to lose track up there.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I was just, you want to break off from people, so you don't want to be too close to people. So I was trying to get that extra distance, and it was just like,
Yeah.
Even judging for
you know,
extra
you're
distance,
weighing
bro.
like, you know, do I open up close to him, and because you don't know which way your parachute's going to open,
Right.
you could slam in together.
Oh, has that ever happened? I mean,
Oh yeah, there's people that that
do
died
they
that way.
survive this? Because it seems like that's not a survival rate that's very high.
Most of the time, no.
Okay.
I mean,
that's horrible.
Yeah.
no.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not good. So
No.
you want your space.
Okay.
You know, that's one thing
take your time getting space, bro.
because you never know. I remember I've been under a parachute and someone's parachute they've gone right past me with their parachute opening.
Wow.
Like, you know, there's some people ended up pulling lower than they say, because when you
I don't
jump
know.
out of the plane, you tell people in front of you and behind you, and you find out what they're pulling at.
Uh-huh.
You know, because you don't want to have the altitudes mixed up. Like, say you're going behind me, I don't want to tell you that I'm pulling at 2,000 feet,
Right.
which, you know, that's too low anyway, but just for an example,
Right.
and then end up pulling at 4,000 feet.
Jesus.
You're already expecting a 2,000 foot
feet pull.
difference,
Right.
like,
Right.
you know,
Wow.
where I wouldn't even be a factor in your mind, but realistically,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you want to
Sure.
do what you say you're going to do.
Sure. Do you have a specific routine that you go through before you jump, or you just go with the flow?
Honestly, just go with the flow. Hopefully, it's a nice feeling day. Honestly, I'll try and squeeze in a game of disc golf or something like that. You know,
Let me
get the
get the
nerves
disc golf
down
in.
or
Shout
something
out
like
disc
that.
golf.
Shout outs to disc golf.
So
like, but okay, so like when you're about to jump out of the plane, you just
everything
jump, or you
you
like to flip. You do crazy.
I mean,
backflips?
that's one of my favorite parts is jumping out the plane.
Yeah,
Like, that's
wow.
where, you know, you can do flips out of it and all this
Right.
stuff. That's the best part.
Do
is
you do
jumping
like
out of the
back
plane.
like a backflip out of the plane?
You do backflip. I like doing like spins out the plane where you start spinning
Spins.
real quick. It just
Wow.
picks up and stuff, and it's just awesome because you kind of just
That's
like
wild.
fall out and
Right,
into
right.
nothingness, and you're flipping around. It's
My
awesome.
God.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then
Oh,
you're
no.
out in this a beautiful view that you can just swim around. Wow. Like big puffy clouds.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Oh,
looking
you
at, like-
crash through the clouds and everything?
Oh yeah, I mean you don't really want to go through clouds because you can't see people, but I've gone
Mhm.
through a few before.
Mhm.
Like sometimes you'll end up just falling through them.
No, I'm
But
sure you got
how
goggles on, right?
How is
It gets
that?
misty. It's a little cold.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
You know, it's
yeah.
a little wet.
Like the condensation hitting you in the face.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But it's like, you know, I'll look up in a nice, you know, puffy cloud day, you know, those big puffy like cotton balls
Uh-huh.
out there, and like
That's pretty
when
tight.
you're just falling around those, some of those clouds are thousands of feet high, and you're just
wow. Imagine
like these things,
falling
you're
through
like
condensation
skydiving
that
around
long.
like giant mountains of
Wow.
clouds. It's awesome.
That's
It's-
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, closest thing to flying, I guess. Huh?
It is flying essentially, right? Yeah, it has to be.
Closest thing. Like
Yeah,
then, like I
closest thing.
said, there's wingsuiting where you get a little more time because you're going more forward.
Right.
And you're like shaped more like a wing. So
Okay.
you actually have more control, so you can fly a little bit longer.
Right. Yeah, have like more aerodynamics going on with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like surf the clouds.
Wow.
So getting back on the technique on the whole landing thing, I just wanted to clarify something. So when you're coming down and about to land, what happens if what do you do if you're coming in way too fast? How are you you just gonna try to run and tuck and roll, or what do you
The
or
barrel
you just,
roll.
yeah,
I mean, the easiest for me is to slide. I mean, there's been times where, you know,
Like a
Like-
baseball slider? Like
kind of like you want to
Okay.
come down, slide, because, you know, you don't want to, there's times later on where I tried to be like, maybe I can outrun this. And it's like,
No way.
no, I slammed real hard. I was like, no, I was
Ooh.
going faster than I expected. I can't run that fast. So I'd have to come in sliding on my feet real quick and then wait to a speed I could run.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if I ever got to the point where it was like I was coming in super hot, or
yeah.
like my parachute kind of dropped a little bit, like hit some dead air and it drops a little bit,
How does
you
that
know,
dead
not
air
even
drop
worry
feel?
about trying to get to my feet, just make sure I don't fucking break anything.
Yeah,
Actually,
right.
how does the dead end or the dead drop feel? That dead zone.
Oh,
of
there's
dropping.
there's been times where I'll come in like, I mean, there'll be heat coming off the, like, depending on hot summer days, you want to cross like too low over like tarmac, like
Okay.
the you know, the runway and stuff
Right.
like that, because the heat coming off the tarmac. So you can have like your parachute like literally drop like 50 feet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's been some close times where I was close to the ground where all of a sudden it dropped a little bit. And you're like, oh shit, please start flying.
Start flying, right.
Yeah.
Coast a little bit.
Because, and then I learned later on, like, that's why you want to kind of keep the speed up coming in. You just don't want to just like kind of like slowly drift in. Like, you kind of want to put a little front on the risers, let it dive just a tad bit. Get, when you're starting to get closer, like 50, 100 feet, you let off so you keep the speed. So if there's any kind of winds and stuff, you got a stable parachute.
I mean, when you're like adjusting on the way down, have you ever gotten yourself to where you have to take a little bit more time before you actually make the landing? Like if you're coming in too hot, do you like try to waste a little bit of time in the air?
You can kind of bleed off speed.
Okay, bleed off. Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of bleed off speed and stuff like that. But I mean, at a certain point, you're kind of committed.
Okay.
Well, is it normal? I can't remember. I'm trying to think of where I remember seeing this or hearing this, but is this real? When like people are coming in, like if they're coming in too fast, they might do they kind of
like a flight pattern around,
circle around and maybe
where they dive towards the ground and then come up real quick and then they coast along the ground really fast.
That's interesting.
Well, that's something they call like swooping. Like
so that's actual technique.
Yeah, that's a technique. That's like the deadliest technique in skydiving.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
never will be doing that either.
Yeah, no, you fuck up there, you fuck up for life.
Actually, and the next time is heaven. So forget it.
All right. Well, one more question. We gotta ask it though, bro. Sure. If you had to choose one or the other, disc golf or skydiving?
Oh, that's a very hard one.
That's a rough question.
I mean, you're talking between the ultimate cheap hobby and one of the very expensive hobbies.
Right.
That is true. That's a
and
big
one that also death may be included in this if you do it wrong.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, we could play like disc roulette, So you better be good.
Yeah, right. No,
start playing for limbs.
Actually,
either way, they're both fun.
I've always wanted to take a disc out of a plane, throw it out of the plane.
Okay. Really?
Why not? Is it a thing that you can do? Is it something?
At the end of the day, it's going to land somewhere, and I don't want to.
You'll never see it again, though.
No, well, that's the thing. I'm not going to see it again, and hopefully, it's not to the point where, because it's a very populated area. You don't want to just realistically be throwing anything out of the plane over there. So
okay, that's true though. Huh?
I mean, it's I'm sure if it's like a putter or a certain softer type of disc, like it wouldn't do much damage. But then again. It's 2020. That thing could hit someone driving a bus of kids and it's off the bridge.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so maybe it is dangerous.
That's 2020.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Kyle, thanks for coming and sharing all that knowledge and experience involving both disc and skydiving.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
That was awesome. Yeah, it was super informational. Like I said, I myself would get on the disc golf vibe, before.
And I'm on it now too.
Before jumping out of a plane.
Yes, sir.
Gladly come to join the group.
But either way, like we said, we really appreciate you coming out and taking the time and sharing. Is there anything in particular that you would want to plug or shout out? Or if you want to shout out any of your social media accounts, anything?
I mean, honestly, just Hackett Hill Disc Golf right now. That's kind of just the main focus, growing disc golf.
There you go.
So everyone
definitely checking it out.
Right, everyone, all the listeners, definitely look that up.
It's great, good time.
What was it called again?
Hackett Hill Disc Golf.
Look that up.
It's up in Hyde Park.
Get into that. Like we said, disc golf is definitely something that's growing in popularity. Good exercise, something fun to do, and like we had said, something very cheap. So, you wanna give out any of your social media accounts?
Oh yeah, so I have Twitter. And that would be Retro Show. And Instagram, which I really need to start using more, which is Tunde, TUNDE 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone can find me at Josh_Toth3. That's my Instagram. My Facebook is Joshua Toth. We want to remind our listeners, too, that we are officially up on Apple.
We are finally.
Definitely find us.
About time.
Please subscribe to us there. Comment. Give us the 5-star rating. That's really important. And it definitely helps us out.
Oh, I also have an extra one for you, bro. We're actually going to be on Google soon too. So if you're one of the 3 people using Google, we will be on there soon.
That's exciting. So, yes, you can find us on Google as well. We're also on Spotify. Please follow us there. We're on YouTube. Subscribe, follow us, share us through there.
Please.
And we're on Anchor as well.
We are on Anchor.
And we also would like to remind our listeners that, if there's any specific topic or anything that they'd like to hear us talk about or want us to address, definitely reach out to Timothy or myself.
Yeah,
and,
please do. If you have anything that's interesting,
absolutely,
we can talk about everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll definitely figure something out.
Yes, sir.
We want to give a special shout out and thank you to our editor, Deirdre.
Thank you, Deirdre. The work is lovely.
Absolutely. You've been doing an amazing job making sure each episode has sounded great. And we thank you. We couldn't do it without you.
Thank you.
Yes. We also want to shout out our day oneers. As always.
Shout outs to the day oneers.
Yes, thank you. All you who have supported and followed us from the beginning. As always, we see you. We appreciate you. And we love you. Thank you. And lastly, we just want to remind everyone Christmas season is quickly approaching. So we just want to remind, everyone out there to please continue to be kind and show love.
Yeah, please be kind.
That's right.
Love everybody. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. Come
Absolutely.
on.
It's the best time of year.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Especially after the year that we've all had. 2020 has been rough. So,
try and coast out on that one at least decently.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wrap, my man. Another one down.
Yes, sir.
Great job.
We made it.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see everybody next week.
All right. See you next week.
All right. Peace.
Peace out.